But that was a disgusting speech he should issue a full-throated apology for. Adam Kinzinger. That's your guy. That's the hill to die on, Adam Kinzinger. Someone should primary that guy. Stat. But a guy who really annoyed me this morning is this Congressman Crenshaw. He's obviously a Republican from Texas. You've probably seen him on the news, which is ironic with Crenshaw because he does these flashy, splashy ads for these candidates that look like movies and stuff. And yet he's calling other people performers. Now, listen, with due respect to the man's service to the country, and I sincerely mean that, that does not absolve you of making the right decisions going forward. People serve the country honorably and then can go on and make a series of bad decisions later, i.e. Bob Mueller and others. I'm not comparing Crenshaw to Mueller. I'm simply suggesting that your prior service does not mean for the rest of your life you're bound to make the right decisions. People get corrupted. Unfortunately, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. But folks, this is an equal opportunity show here. We pride ourselves on sticking to a set of foundational principles. And what is going on with Crenshaw? I just don't understand it. So this was some video taken at an event he did with a congressional candidate, Luttrell. He did this event, and he gets the video. Someone videos it, and he's given this speech, and he starts talking about and bashing for some bizarre reason the Freedom Caucus members of Congress, who are by far the most have the highest degree of allegiance to foundational and constitutional principles. And he gives a pass, I'm not kidding, you'll hear it yourself, to Adam Kinzinger. And then he just makes it up that Kinzinger somehow is some kind of bedrock Republican legislator. Clint Kinzinger, the guy who voted for the Trump impeachment, the loser who spends his entire day attacking Republicans. Here, listen to Crenshaw. And I ask again, what in Hades is going on with this guy? Talking about the performers versus the legislators. Check this out.
I've been in Congress for almost 3 years now. There's two types of members in Congress. There's performance artists, and there's legislators. Now, the performance artists are the ones that get all the attention. They're the ones you think are more conservative because they know how to say slogans real well. They know how to recite the lines that they know that our voters want to hear. Let me tell you guys something. In the first 2 years of Trump's presidency, when Republicans were in control, when every single time we were voting on Donald Trump's agenda, who do you think was at the top of that list voting with Trump, and who do you think was at the bottom? A lot of names you would recognize were at the bottom of that list. A lot of names you would recognize are at the top of that list. Number two is probably going to make you cringe a little bit. It's Adam Kinzinger. Voted with Trump almost 99%. He was number two. You know who's at the bottom? Everybody in the Freedom Caucus. All of them. What you hear so often is not true. It's not true. We have grifters in our midst. Not here, not in this room, that's not what I mean. I mean in the conservative movement. Lie after lie after lie because they know something psychologically about the conservative heart. We're worried about what people are going to do to us, what they're going to infringe upon us.
Guy just brought up a good point. Guy's like, I used to like this guy. I said, yeah, me too. I always default to liking a guy who's given so much for the country on the battlefield. But I did tell Guy day one. Guy's been here a while now. Not as long as Joe. Joe is Joe's the godfather of the operation, and the capo as well. But Guy's been here a while now. Yeah. And Guy said to me, he said we were watching a video together. It plays during the show, most of them. And Guy said to me, Joe, he goes, I remember one of the first days I was here, you warned me about this guy. I did. I did. Because I'm telling you, I'm tired of the all hat, no cattle, false prophets. Nothing Crenshaw said there is true. Nothing. Adam Kinzinger is some bedrock conservative legislator. So I went to the gold standard. Hear me out on this. If you want to check the conservative bona fides of your legislator in Congress or the Senate, I used to work there, but I have no financial arrangement with them whatsoever anymore. Joe remembers well where Joe did some work there too. Yep. Conservative Review has a thing called the Liberty Score. The Liberty Score. Remember it. Conservative Review's Liberty Score. If you ever want to see if your congressman is a real patriot or a performer and a loser, just go to Liberty Score, Conservative Review, and just look them up. So I did just that because Dan Crenshaw says Kinzinger is some bedrock legislator we should be looking up to. His Liberty Score out of 1 to 100 was an astounding 45%. 45. Joe, now you and I went to school in different eras, but was 45% ever passing when you went to school?
No, Dan, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. Okay, thank you. I'm reasonably confident, even with the milking down now of educational standards, 45% is still failing. And you'll see Adam Kinzinger is a screenshot on now if you're watching on Rumble. Got an F on the gold standard of congressional scoring, Conservative Review's Liberty Score. So Crenshaw said something else. He said, and those Freedom Caucus members, the Freedom Caucus, the Republicans who actually believe in the Constitution, they're at the bottom of the list, are they? So I just looked up a few. Here's Andy Biggs. He gets 100% Liberty Score. That's an A.
Yeah.
There's Paul Gosar. He gets a 98%. That's an A. Let's go to some more. Here's Warren Davidson, Freedom Caucus member. He gets an A, 96%. I don't see Kinzinger anywhere in there.
No.
Here are 3 more Freedom Caucus members. Jim Jordan, A, 94%. Jeff Duncan, A, 94%. Ken Buck, A, 94%.
Yeah, no Kinzinger.
So basically what I'm telling you is Crenshaw is full of stuff. It rhymes with hit. Thank you for your service, but you're lying. So you may say, well, Dan, he didn't say Kinzinger was a conservative. Because, again, unlike the left-wing media, I do facts here. He said people who voted with Trump. Well, to give it a fair analysis, some of the legislative proposals that came through in the Trump era that Trump supported, a lot of them were spending bills that the Freedom Caucus is never going to support. So the Freedom Caucus and their alignment with the Trump presidency sometimes is low, not because the Freedom Caucus weren't conservative, but because they don't like deficit spending bills. Now, Crenshaw knows that, but again, Crenshaw's not dumb. Crenshaw thinks you're dumb. But here's the funny thing. Even when you take Crenshaw at what he said, Kinzinger was a 99% voter with Donald Trump. He was number 2 on the list. He was. I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 Republican members. That's just at the top of the list who were before Kinzinger in voting with President Trump. And it was not 99%. He made that up. Folks, listen. We are never, ever going to fix this country if the people who hijack our brand become false prophets. I can't say this to you enough. Crenshaw is doing what the left does here. He knows he is, in fact, one of these false prophets, so he's turning it around and blaming it on Conservative Inc., which is stunning because how often have I warned you, Conservative Inc. is a real thing, but it's not who you think. The grifter class out there is real. I am begging you to see through it. There are people who really believe what they say. The Levins out there, the Tuckers out there, and then there's a class of grifters. This guy is one of them. Performers, he's the one doing the G.I. Joe videos. Again, due respect to the man's service. Don't take any of that away from him. But that was a disgusting speech he should issue a full-throated apology for. Adam Kinzinger, that's your guy. That's the hill to die on, Adam Kinzinger. Someone should primary that guy. Stat.
You just heard the Dan Bongino Show.